to Spirit Tea Talks podcast with Miss Divine Derricka in the motherfucking building. Woo!
Hello, hello, hello.
If I had the special effects, it would be like a crowd going wild right now.
I mean, for both of us, honestly, when two Leos come together, come on.
It's unstoppable, baby. It's
Exactly.
unstoppable.
Exactly.
I'm so happy to have you back. I know that we've kind of been. I think we've talked about it pretty publicly, like how the eclipse energy was really did a number on a lot of us.
It did.
And I think now, like how you had mentioned earlier, like the storm is finally settling, so now we can regroup and bring it back.
Especially with this, I feel like it's perfect we're doing this on the new moon energy because it feels like new energy is ushering in. You know what I mean? Especially for those of us that are doing the work and we are, taking what mommy is giving us. We're not backing down. It's like, okay, this is the reward. This is why you had to push so hard and work so hard and why your path is not like everyone else's. Because the things that you want and the things that you need are not like everyone else's.
Yeah.
So.
Like a hard pill to swallow because it's just like, well, fuck. That's extra work that I have to do.
No. Like, why gotta be so hard sometimes, Bobby? Like, dang. But I'm starting to realize now, the challenges and the growth, it's all for a reason and it makes you grateful. Because you're like, damn, if I can come through that, if I can alchemize and transmute that, damn.
Imagine. It shows you like a glimpse of the power that we really do hold.
Exactly.
And like I always say, like, go through it, don't stay there. Because that's literally the key to just like enhancing, is filling things out and making it valid. But like, no,
don't
mommy's not even gonna
long.
allow you. Yeah, and mommy's not gonna allow you to stay there for too long. Like, she's just gonna like, come on now, like you gotta do something.
She could put a little bit of fire under your ass to kind of get you moving, which I feel like we were talking about that in the last episode when you're coming out of that like dark time and that dark energy and you're like, okay, I can clean now. I can shift things around now. Now the messages are coming through and she's like, see, Mija, see why you went through. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense, mommy. Hey, okay. And it's like, you feel like, damn, like I made a fit. I threw a tantrum and I didn't have to do all that. You know what I mean?
My bad.
I'm sorry. Damn.
It's like we're big ass toddlers.
Yeah, like it's always like, wait, it is gonna be okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. She's like, see, I told you. It's always gonna be okay. It's always gonna work out.
Yeah, for sure. What is it that you do? Because I'm curious to know. Because everybody maneuvers their darkness in different aspects, and I think we've touched briefly about it beforehand, but this energy, and I don't know about you, this energy felt very different. And I think every energy is different, but getting out of this darkness that we just like all kind of went through was intense. And I know that there's still some people that like message me and they're still like very much in the darkness trying to get out of it. But how did you in this energy feel the difference, and what were the lessons that helped you get out, or at least try to get out of it?
I feel like the biggest lesson was it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out and say, hey, I really am having a hard time. And to be really transparent about having a hard time. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, no, I'm fine, I got it. You know what I mean? It's under control. I realize, and like kind of reflecting on it now, there's power in being honest. Like there's power in just being honest and saying, this is how I feel. Like, mommy, I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. I can't see how things are going to work out. And I found that when I would sit at my altar, because I always do that. I sit at my altar with mommy And I would just tell her, like, I'm not okay. I'm struggling. It hurts. This is painful. You know what I mean? Like, I would just be honest with her. And then I found that everything that I would talk about, she would bring to me. It wasn't so much I was like, help me, mommy, please, please, like not begging, but just being like, this is how I'm feeling. And then people would come and like, are you okay? Like, how can I help? You know what I mean? Like, do you need me? You know, it's like she would send people my way that were in response to what I was feeling. So it's always like, how can you get the help that you need? How can you get the answers if you're not being honest with yourself? You know what I mean? If you're not being real with yourself, first and foremost, how are you ever going to progress forward? If you can admit that there is a problem, there is an issue, like I don't know what to do. It's like, okay, but how can you receive solutions if you're pretending to know what you need to do? You know, it's like, no, I know, I got it, I got it. She's like, do you? You do? Okay. You know, so like I feel like she'll always just kind of let us like, okay, hands off, I'll let you do it, until you're like, okay, wait, no, mommy, I'm actually, wait. You know, so I had to realize that it's okay to ask for help, and it's okay to come to mommy for help, because I know that that's something a lot of devotees, a lot of her children struggle with, is like, we don't want to burden her. Right. You know, and I'm trying to understand, where does that come from, this feeling like I don't want to bring my problems to her.
Right.
I don't want to bother her. She's going to be mad at me. And I always like, if mommy knows our heart, if she knows that we genuinely are trying to do better, I don't feel that she would turn us away. You know what I mean? It's different if you're just a fucking user, if you really are coming to her in that energy. But I find that so many of us go through these trials and tribulations. And I know for myself, I go through these trials and tribulations. And a big thing that I've been working on is like my throat chakra. Even more, like a deeper level of going deeper into my feelings, deeper into asking for help, and just being fucking honest. Yeah. Like, I feel like it's like they say, this truth will set you free. And it literally does. Because I felt like such a weight lifted off when I was like, this is how I feel. You know, when I was like honest with just, you know, like my community, like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Like, I felt a shift in my energy. Like, even someone had said, you know, it looks like a mask fell off of you. And I was like, that is how it feels. Like, I feel like I shed some pounds. So I feel like just being honest has really helped me navigate this time, because I felt like I was getting pushed to such a point of uncomfortability that I had no choice other than to be like, this is what it is. Like, I can't lie anymore. I can't lie to myself. Sure as hell can't lie to mommy. And it doesn't do any good to lie to other people. You know, like, I remember you had mentioned one time not knowing, like, oh, am I sharing too much or am I sharing enough? But every time you share something that's vulnerable and that's close to your heart, there are like so many other people that are feeling that exact same emotion. And you're like, damn, I see why. Like, it's so much. That's another thing I realized. Like, I'm going through it, but it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. And in a way, it's kind of like selfish, but not in a healthy way, to keep all that to myself.
Oh, yeah.
Because you never know who is going to be impacted by your story, your testimony. You know what I mean? So that's something that mommy has been telling me, is like, you never know. Just speak up. Like, when you feel that call to say something, say it. You know, so I would say that has been something in this aspect of like the change and transformation that has really helped me, was to just be like, I gotta be real, mommy. I gotta say what I gotta say. I gotta speak my truth, you know?
No, that's right. I know that's right. And I think that is so courageous. And I love the fact that you said, like, being honest. Because let's be real, it's easy to lie, it's easy to mask, and it's easy to play it like everything is fine and dandy. But it's so courageous to be completely transparent and honest about what you're experiencing, and especially us that we're in the front lines, how I like to envision it, of the community, because there is a lot of people that look up to us and, you know, see how we're maneuvering, because like you said, we just don't know who can be impacted by what our story has to be told. And I think that is the perfect way to also say, like, when you're going through darkness, the best thing to do is to be honest, because the only way out is to acknowledge it and not be in denial.
Yeah.
Like, that's also power of like taking accountability, right? Of like, oh, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But it's okay to not be okay. And how do I get to be in a better position than I was before?
Yeah.
And especially this, like I mentioned earlier, like this energy, girl, it was just, it didn't even swing. It grabbed me by the hair and put me on the fucking, like, what is this called? The fan. And it just had me swirling around, like, girl, make it stop, make it stop. But it's just like, nope,
Yeah.
nothing. But it's just, I feel like, I don't know, girl. I feel like this energy for those who, like, especially who are spiritually more connected, this is gonna be good. If like we made it out of this hurdle with a whole different set of eyes, perception, maybe even something creativity wise. When I feel that sense of like that itch of getting creative, that's like a flag on the play that shows me like, oh, you did it, like you got to learn what it was. Now you get to go and hustle and do what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
What is it that you said earlier, like um that like after the storm is gone and you're like, that's why you had to go through it, like
Yeah,
that's
why you have to go through. And I think about it too, like I had talked about this a while back about if we never went through adversity, if we never went through challenges, and I have to remind myself in the midst of challenges, like remember what you said about if we never went through these adversities, we never went through challenges, how would we grow? How would we ever grow? Because I know for myself, I tend to struggle with perfection and I don't like to fail. I want to do it right. I want to do it good. I want to be the best. You know what I mean? But it's like, if I never fail, if I never stumble, if I never fall, how will I learn how to get back up? How will I learn from my mistakes? You know what I mean? And I feel like those of us that go through such adversity is for a reason. You know what I mean? Because, like, I feel like when you really have those obstacles that challenge you in your growth, especially in a specific area in your life, it's like I can accomplish anything. If I can get through this and I can come out of it, yeah, I may got a few little scrapes and bumps and stuff, but those are going to heal. And I got medicine from it. You know, the poison that tried to fucking kill me, I made some medicine out of that. And now because my thing is like when I go through things and I'm learning things, I want to share that with my community. Right. Because my thing is I want people to also be empowered. You know, I mean, I don't want people to be like, oh my God, tell me, teach me everything. I want them to find it for themselves. But if you never go through those challenges, how are you going to learn? Because I notice a lot of people, especially, you know, devotees of mommy, they're like, but why is it all happening? Why? And I'm like, because you're going to have to go through it. Like you said, like go through it, feel it, because it's bringing you to what you want. And you don't realize it. Like we said, the storm. If we never had storms, the path would never be clear. Though there would never be no blooming garden, there would never be any fruit. If we never, like, I always think about like the element of water, and you know when we're crying, when we just feel like we're drowning in that ocean of emotion, it's like learning the importance of water. Water is life. And if we never shed any tears, if we never felt that kind of like push in that pool, how would we get like the fruits of our labors? Because when you're planting, you gotta scrape up the roots, you gotta pull shit out. You know what I mean? There's disruption that happens. And in the moment it's hard to acknowledge that. You're like, but why is everything falling apart? It's falling apart because you're being built back up again. It's being built stronger. You know, like I always think of redwood trees whenever I go through challenges. I'm like, man, these redwood trees have been burned, they've been struck by lightning, people have tried to cut them down, and yet they still have these thick ass roots in the fucking ground.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if y'all have never seen the redwood trees, any person should see those, because they are such incredible teachers about adversity. Because people have tried, things have tried to cut them. Like, if they could withstand fire, like, that shows me, damn, I can withstand the fire. I could withstand the storm and still be tall and keep growing and growing and growing and be a fucking giant. You know what I mean? So I always think of that, like, if I never went through adversities, how would I ever grow? And I'm big on growth. If you're big on growth, you're going to go through adversities. You're going to go through challenges. So be careful what you ask for. Do you really want to grow? Are you okay staying stagnant? That's fine. If that's your speed, that's fine. But if you're asking for growth, if you're asking for change, buckle up, baby, because that shit gets crazy. Like, it really does.
But truly, I love how you mentioned it. I had this envision right now when you said, like, even you make medicine out of, like, like, what is it that you said, the disease?
The poison.
The poison. So my grandma used to do this thing in Mexico where we had alacranes, we had scorpions, actually. And instead of killing them, she would put them in an alcohol bottle. So she would just leave the motherfuckers to drown. And she had a big bottle. And there was so many. I was just like, what is happening? So anytime another scorpion would try to bite anybody in her family, she would use the rubbing alcohol as the medicine to kill off the sting of the scorpion. So I love that you use that reference, because we fucking Salem. Because we do need a little bit of, like, that's the alchemy, using the poison into your benefit. And that's just, but it's so hard. And I get it. It's so hard because sometimes you have tunnel vision and you just don't know when you're going to get out of this shit.
Yeah.
But I feel like devotees, and especially new ones, I don't know. I just don't. It kind of rubs me personally the wrong way when people start, like, asking her, like, why, mommy? Why me? But why not you?
Yeah.
Maybe she sees something in you that you don't see in yourself. Your resilience, your strength, your mindset. Why not you? Because I always put it into the aspect of, like, if not me, especially that I have a daughter, I'd rather it be me than her. So I'd rather take those bullets to grow and teach and share that, because I feel like that's what a lot of us are here to do, is to really put into perspective, like, here's my walking testimony of, like, what happens when you X, Y, and Z, and what you can do and what you shouldn't fucking do, right? And I love the fact that, for starters, that's why I fuck with you so heavily, because you're very transparent and you're, like, it's the difference in people. And I watch people, like, on Instagram, like, that post nothing but reviews on their profile. Great. Okay, you're delivering results as you should be, though. But are you sharing parts of you that could be vulnerable and could be helpful to the community? And it's not to say just put all your shit out there, right? But into an aspect when you're preaching and when you're doing healing work, or when you're doing work in general, I would feel more trusted by a practitioner who is authentic, who is outspoken. And something that I appreciate is those who can be vulnerable even when they don't know if they should be vulnerable, because it's very taboo. And we're humans, though. Like, that's what we get connected by, showing emotion. So I love that that part of you as well, that especially when you were going through your situations and stuff, and after the live, like, I couldn't catch the whole thing, but I was just like, I felt moved by the fact that you were just like, hey, this is what's happening. And it takes courage. It really, really does, to go in front of your followers, in front of people, in front of strangers, right? That we build connections to be like, hey, look, listen, I am not okay right now. And I would appreciate some, whatever it is that you needed. And that moved me because there's not a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that wear facades, that wear, like everything is nice and dandy. And it's like, but is it though? Like, I don't, like, is it though?
Like, I feel a little off. That's what I love about you too, is that you're real. You know what I mean? Like, real, authentic, not afraid to speak up and say, this is what it is. If you don't like it, you could kiss my ass. Maybe not even that, because you're not worthy enough. You know what I mean? But it's like, I love that. I appreciate that authenticity, because it's not easy to come by. You know what I mean? Especially in this realm, when it's just about cloud, and I just want to, I just want to make sales. And it's like, I've noticed too with you, it's like anything you put out benefits you, but it also benefits everyone else. Mm-hmm. It's a mutual, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm doing this because I've been through this. I'm not just trying to upsell something that I know for a fact does not work, but I'm going to sell it to you. You know what I mean? Like, everything that you create has an impact, like a bigger impact. You know what I mean? Just even what you share. And I'm like, that's a real one right there. Yes.
You gave me goosebumps.
You know what I mean? Like, that is real, especially because I'm like, I know she's been through some shit, even shit that you don't talk about, but it's obvious. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I have, like, you keep private, but you also share like openly, like, this is what I've gone through. Right. Like, are you going to get everything? Hell no. But you're going to know that I'm real, because it's felt, and that's why I feel like people be feeling away, because it's like, damn, this is a real person, and I can't bullshit you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, that's a woman right there. You know what I mean?
Say it one more time. Say
That's a woman. Okay.
Oh, behave. No, but really.
I'm telling you.
I didn't even think of it like that. Like, taking a step back, like, right? I'm just like, whoa, okay, that's why I do what I do. It's a good reminder. It's crazy, because when you're really put in the path to do what you're supposed to do, it just comes naturally. It just comes so fucking naturally. There was a question, and I feel like a lot of people, I mean, I don't mind ever repeating myself, because there's always going to be new people, new information, and that's great. But somebody had asked, like, any tips for, like, a new devotee, like a fresh new devotee. And I also wanted to add that I just had somebody DM me, and she's not the first person. I'm pretty sure you've had a couple people that are like, I want to get a reading done, and they told me that Santissima is not with me. But I really want to be devoted to her. Like, I'm really called out to her, but this person has told me that I don't walk with her. I want to hear your input.
Okay, so for the people that feel that I'll say this first off. If you have this magnetic pull to mommy that you cannot get out of your head, no matter what you do, she's on your mind, she's in your energetic field, you see her in your dreams. Sometimes maybe you don't, but you just feel that she's just like, Santa Muerte, Santa Muerte, Santa. Like, it's over and over and over again, and you cannot get that out of your head. That is for a reason, because when your calling is calling, it's going to keep fucking knocking until you answer. It's not going to go away. Mommy is very persistent. Okay? She's persistent. She don't let up. When she wants you, she wants you. Something I always say that I've noticed connecting with other Santa Muerte devotees that are like the ones that she really claims. Because there are people that say like, oh, I walk with mommy. And I'm like, you can tell that they don't. Okay? We know. So I always say those that really are like children of Santa Muerte, we have the mark of death. I say that it is the mark of death, because death has followed us our whole entire life. We are not new to this. We are true to this. Okay. It has been in our lives from birth. Okay. We came into this world with the mark of death, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So that I always notice when I connect with like real devotees of mommy, we have the mark of death. You know, it's very obvious. If you can feel energy, you can see energy, you're just familiar with energy, you know. It's like there's a recognition. You know what I mean? That's why I feel like you and I, we get along so well, because there's a real recognizes real. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I feel that if you are someone, if you're listening right now, if you are someone that feels so strongly that Santa Muerte is in your life, she is in your life. Point blank, period. Okay? And that comes with some trust, like, damn, like, okay. And it also is like a feeling of being worthy, because some people don't feel worthy to be in the presence of Santa Muerte. And I feel like that has to do with some religious trauma, because we're told like, oh, you have to have, an in-between person to talk to whomever, whatever in the sky, the white man in the sky, as they always like to describe it. But mommy, if she wants you, she will make it very clear. And I'm always weary of someone that says that if that person is feeling like, damn, like I feel so strongly that I need to walk this path. And another reader says, I don't think she's actually not with you. That to me seems like a setup, in a sense, like you're trying to stop me from opening that door. Because if I open that door, then I'm stepping into something that I need to step into. And there are going to be people strategically placed sometimes that are going to test you. Are you going to open the door? Or are you going to listen to the person that says, no, don't open that door. Don't do it. And if you can tell, like, there's something not right about what you're telling me, because it's not coming from maybe it would be different if you said, I don't think you're ready for that just yet. She's with you, but not yet. There are some things that you're going to have to establish first, maybe. But to just blatantly tell someone like she doesn't walk with you, and that person feels it in their heart that she does, you a fucking liar. Mm-hmm. And I don't trust you. You know what I mean? I don't trust you, because why are you lying? What are you lying about? You know what I mean? Who sent you? Kind of thing. So I would be weary of people that say that, because, and to touch on like advice for newer devotees, like slow down is what I will say. Slow your roll, because down. This is a lifelong commitment. And I feel that there are some people that will step into this because, yes, they see the testimonies, they see the blessings, they see what some of her other children have provided. But really ask yourself, what is my intention here? Like, what is it that I'm really seeking in this relationship? Because it's a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, this is mommy. She's going to be with you for the rest of your life. Can you be committed? Can you be loyal? Can you be consistent? You know what I mean? Like, look at your life and what you're doing. Is she going to fit in your life? Is she going to have room in your life? Is she going to be able to be a priority in your life? Because mommy likes to be a priority. You know what I mean? So I always tell people that, or people that come to me asking me about being a devotee of Santa Muerte. And it's something that I heard, when I started my path, but it didn't go into as deep. But it's something that mommy would tell me, like, are you going to be able to be committed? Like, are you going to be able to do this? And I think that's where, like, what we were talking about being honest comes in. Because if you can step to mommy and be like, look, mommy, this is my life right now. I'm laying it all out. This is my life. These are who I'm hanging out. This is what I'm doing. But I want you in my life and I want to make this work. You know what I mean? Just allow me to do what I need to do to make this work. That's where I feel like it's okay to be like, you know what, mommy, if you could help me in my path of devotion, if you could show me how you want me to walk with you, you know what I mean? Help me in that way. I feel like that's okay in the beginning. Now, if you're over here like, mommy, I need a new car, I need a new house, I need me a man, then that's where I'm like, okay, you need to pump the brakes. Because I will say in the beginning of my devotion, I asked her to help me with my discipline. Because if I wasn't going to be disciplined, how would I be able to show up for mommy? And that's where being honest with yourself comes in, because if you are coming in and you know you lack the discipline, you lack being consistent, you know what I mean? You have some vices that may get in the way. That is okay to be like, look, mommy, this is what I'm dealing with, but I would like your help because this is going to benefit our relationship. You know what I mean? Help me be a better person. Help me be a better devotee. Help me be a child that will walk with integrity. You know what I mean? Like, help me walk this path of integrity. I feel if people focus more so on that rather than, oh my God, I have to get her all of these like lavish offerings. I have to get her the best tequila. I have to get her all these flowers. I have to give her all this money. Nah, nah, nah. It's like, build your character first. Have her help you build your character first, because that is what's going to last throughout the rest of your life. And that is going to be part of the foundation that's going to build that the relationship is going to be built on, because money comes and goes. You know what I mean? People come and go, but it's going to be you and mommy at the end of the day. And it's going to be you at the end of the day. So it's like, you got to work on yourself and your inner foundation before you're like, do all these things, mommy, let's do magic, let's like light some candles, da, 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 da. Like, I feel like to be a Santa Muerte devotee, there has to be a level of awareness, self-awareness.
Yeah.
And if you don't have self-awareness, pray for that. You know what I mean? Like, you there's, and my ear is fucking ringing right now. Self-awareness is so key in this path, because at the end of the day, I've noticed that the things that happen in our lives is to build us as people, because we are the temple, we are the foundation, we are the home that everything is going to be built on in the rest of for the rest of our lives. Everything that we are going to need is internal. But so many times I've noticed that newer devotees are focused on the external, you know, like, okay, she has to have the best altar, she has to have this, I have to have all these statues. If you are just starting out and you don't have a statue, you could still talk to mommy. And it's important to practice to talk to her without a statue first. Because if you can't sense or feel that Santa Muerte is with you unless you have a statue in your face, that's an issue. If you can't visualize her in your mind's eye, that's going to be an issue. If you don't know if it's mommy or something else, that's going to be an issue. You're going to want to work on those things, the little things that most people don't like to do, because it's work.
Right.
This path is work, but it's work on yourself. So that's my advice. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Looking back at my journey and like the things that I did intuitively, that is probably what I would have told myself. You know, like, focus on yourself, your inner growth, and then take it from there, and then up level, and then be like, okay, spell work, okay, you know what I mean, creating, if she wants you to create, because I know that's a stigma, like, you know, about creating things with mommy, but it's like, if she's telling you to do it, there's no ignoring what she tells you to do. You gotta fucking do it.
Yeah.
Do it. But it's like, what is your intention with you doing it? You know, that's why I said the things that you create with mommy, I can tell are like divinely inspired, divinely moved, because the impact, it ripples. It's helping people. The things that you write, the things that you share, your journey, you know, your trials and tribulations, even in your devotion, that is admirable, because you're keeping it fucking real. And you're not sugarcoating things to be like, yes, it's all sunshine and rainbows. I think too, a lot of newer devotees think that shit's gonna be sweet all the time. It's not. You're working with death. You're walking with death. When you step into her world, you are stepping into the realm of the dead. And if you're gonna get a little shook up and scared, a little scurry, that's gonna be an issue, because that fear is gonna block you. You know what I mean? Also, too, if you're a newer devotee and you fear death, you're afraid of dying, you're gonna want to work on that. because you're going to be faced with your own death time and time and time again. It may be a spiritual death, but you're also going to experience death around you. Are you going to be comfortable with people around you actually dying and not being like, oh, mommy did it, she's evil?
Right.
Mommy is doing what mommy does. You know what I mean? So it's like there's so much that goes into it. That's why I'm like, take it slow, y'all. Take it slow.
As they should. You know what? And when you say about like death, right? It's so fucking funny because I went on a walk with my best friend yesterday, and right now because I'm like microdosing, so I need to be out with nature. Me and nature right now are divine, like for real. We're like this now, and I'm just like, I need to be with nature. And we're taking a walk, and all of a sudden, like, it got really cloudy, and it looked like it was gonna rain. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, just weird. And I was like, oh, she's like, bitch, it's because of you. She's like, you always bring some sort of darkness, right? Like, just like playfully saying it. And I was just like, well, girl, I work with death. She's like, what do you mean? And she has Santa Muerte. Like, she knows my whole journey. She's been there with me the entire time. And I was just like, babe, Santa Muerte. She's like, oh my God, I don't view her as death. Like, I see her beyond what she really is, the stigma of death. She's like, I don't see her like that. She's like, so that's why I was just like, who are you working with the dead? Like, who are you talking about? And I was telling her, because she doesn't practice, but she's very supportive and takes my advices very, very seriously. And I was telling her, I was just like, it's also the rebirth of ourselves. And I think when we work so closely with Santa Muerte, you have to know, and like how you mentioned, you have to have some level of self-awareness, because you will be put through challenges. You will be put through deaths and rebirths and just reestablishing yourself on a consistent basis, all the time. And I think that would be one of my biggest advice, and something that I didn't know when I started my devotion, was that death is beyond a skeleton that we see. Death is transformative, and death is growth. Death is painful, but death is beautiful in the same sense. It's all in one breath. And to know that, as I've been devoted to her for 6 years now, this last rebirth that I just encountered was probably one of the hardest rebirths, because I had to look at myself in the mirror, see her right next to me, and say, you've gotten this far. What are you going to do now?
Yeah.
It becomes harder to go through transformations because you have gotten so far that you don't want to let up. And working with her and being with her is going to challenge you in your best way and worst ways possible. And that's where like this yin yang energy kind of comes through, of like taking it to the head, taking it to the chest, girl. Like, you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, you can't stop now. And I think that was one of my hardest and like lessons that I've had to learn as of recently, was like, damn, I've gone through so much healing that I can't even if I wanted to, I can't go back.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go back to self-sabotaging or like dismissing myself. I've gotten way too fucking far. And it's gonna get uncomfortable, and it's gonna get too fucking real for you to sometimes take a little step back. It's a little scary, but it's something that is so beneficial, and she's gonna walk with you the entire fucking time, as long as you're transparent and you're communicating with her.
Yeah.
Because that's how the connection, gets stronger. And like, I love that you mentioned about like the lavishness that new devotees want to give, because I feel like that's also a societal mindset of like, if you have the nicest cars and the nicest house, and if you're making over however much money, right? Like, you're successful, and it's just like, okay. And we go through that stigma. So I feel like when it comes to Santa Muerte, it's like, oh, I have to have a fucking 3-tower altar for her and get everything that is, and it's great because you want to spoil her. You want to lavish her. She's not requiring you to do those things though. Like not in the beginning stages at least. Like, like in the beginning stages she's just like, hey, talk to me.
Exactly. Like just have a conversation with me. Like have a little sippy sip of coffee. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go outside and smoke a cigarette, take me with you. Let me go with you. Light one up for me. If you're gonna fucking spark a fucking blunt or a joint, let's share that. You know what I mean? And it's like that is like that's the foundation. That's where it starts.
It's like a fresh relationship. Like when you're dating, you are infatuated with them. You want to be around them. You want to take them out. And it's the same sense with mommy. It's just like it's a new relationship. And everything else comes in time. And I've talked about it. Like I didn't have an altar my first year and a half of my devotion with her. I had her tarot cards. I never have them next to me, do I? I have a bunch of other cards, but like I just would get her tarot card and just be like, that's mommy. And like you mentioned, if you can't feel mommy without a statue, it's a challenge because now is it you actually wanting to connect with her or is it just for show? Like, and you have to like you say, you have to be honest on how you want your relationship with her to be. There was another thing that I had learned, and I don't know if people still do this or if you ever done this, but like when I started my devotion, I wrote a petition describing what I wanted out of my relationship with her, like what was my biggest goal in my relationship with her, what was the outcome that I wanted from my relationship with her, what was a promise or promises that I would want to do or, tell her, and how did I feel like my life would change when becoming devoted to her. And I wrote in a petition, and I've kept that petition. And everything has transpired the way that like I would have, even more so that I would have imagined it to be. So I think that would be another thing that I would suggest is to have a clear perception. I don't want to say clear because I feel like that's kind of biased, because if you don't really, nobody really knows what a relationship can entice to, but I feel like if you have some sort of like transparency of like what you want out of it, like maybe you just I'm just so intrigued by you that I just want to learn, put that on paper, because I feel like the more that we write and the more that we share with a pen or a pencil and paper, it becomes even more real. It becomes a contract, sort of speak,
Oh yeah, I've actually done that in a journal, where I would write her letters in this journal, and I just remember saying like, I just want to know about you. I want to be able to and I always say this as like, I want to be able to show up for you, mommy. I want to be present. I want to be able to love you the way that you deserve. I want to be able to just be present. You know what I mean? And learn about you and who you are and what you are, because that's how I show love. You know what I mean? It's like, I want to know about the energy or just the relationship that I'm in. It's like, I want to know, and sometimes I could be a little like, I want to know, I want to know, I want to know, and just kind of be receptive and like being open to letting her show me, you know what I mean? But I did write like how I would like for the relationship to be. And I was like, I am choosing to walk with you for the rest of my life. And it's an honor and a privilege to do so. You know what I mean? And I just want to be able to do that, like just make sure I have what I need so I can always show up for you. And me having what I need is me, like I was saying, is being a person of integrity, of being authentic, of being vulnerable, because that reflects in my relationship with her, and it reflects in all my other relationships, because I've noticed that my relationship with her is the biggest kind, like, which is interesting because we say, how we treat ourselves, but I've noticed like how I treat mommy, how I move with her is reflective of my other relationships. She's taught me how to be in relationship. She taught me what devotion is. And that's what I wanted to learn. I wanted to know, what is devotion? You know, you hear it, but do you really know what it means? Do you really know what it entails? You know, so it's like those little things I would write down, and like that's what she showed me. And like you said, it's like even better than what you expected it to be. Like it goes beyond that. And then I feel like too it changes over time. You know, cuz then your relationship changes, but I feel like it changes in a way, it gets deeper, it matures, because it's like, okay, like I'm still her child, but I'm not asking for the same things. I'm
Right.
not moving in the same way. You know, but like you said, I feel like having a, as best as you can, and I feel like people, you know, just in general, you know, how do you want to be in the relationship, like yourself? How do you want to be? How do you want to talk to her? Like how would you show up? And like I said, it takes some self-reflection and self-awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like it is a that's why I always say it is a big responsibility. Mommy is high maintenance. She's going to challenge you to be like, you going to show up for me? Like, you gonna be there for me? You know what I mean? Like, are you gonna leave me, kind of thing? You know, like, are you gonna be down
Right.
when shit gets hard? Are you gonna be down? You know what I
Right.
mean? So I feel like, yeah, that would be really good for people to just kind of put it on paper. And in a way, it is kind of like a contract, but it's more so just you have an understanding and you can hold yourself accountable. You're
Right.
like, okay, this is what I said. Because if you're bringing anything like that to mommy, she's gonna hold you accountable.
Right.
If you're not holding yourself accountable, you're going to feel it in how she talks to you, how she treats you, how she responds to things. Because mommy will let you know, like, I'm not happy with you right now. I'm not. I'm dissatisfied.
Right.
Because you're not doing what you said you were going to do.
Right.
You know? So with that, I feel writing that down, it's going to hold you accountable, but that's a good thing because it's going to keep you focused. And I feel like to walk this path, there has to be some level of focus too.
Big
You
time.
know, like for sure, there has to be some type of focus and just not so much like tunnel vision, because we can be very tunnel vision, but just be like, okay, this is important to me, so I'm going to do what I need to do to make sure I fulfill what I said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I love that, like creating that kind of, just, you know, and if you want to just write it as a letter, you know, too, that would be wonderful.
I'm big on writing. So I always tell everybody, like, have you been writing? Have you been journaling? And I sound like a broken record, but like,
No, literally.
it's so, like, I don't know. Maybe because I've just been a big writer myself, but I'm just like, girl, if you can see right now, I'm looking at like 5 different journals. Like, it's just, you have, I don't know. For me, it just makes sense. You know, to each their own. I also want to touch base on what you just said about devotion. Yeah, let me tell you. Let me tell you. A whole realization came to mind. So I'm reading these books, right? My little spicy romance books. Oh God.
Girl, you in these books, I'm like, I need to see what these books are about.
Girl, please come through, please. 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 And it's okay, let me pinpoint that part first. But I started realizing that like how I went about my relationship with Santa Muerte was what I wanted back from
Mm-hmm.
people in my physical world.
Yeah.
And I have a rule: when you come to my house, do not come empty-handed.
Mm.
Because this is my sacred space. Whether that's
Yeah.
a fucking flower, whether that's just something small. I'm not here asking you to bring me a fuck. You know, I'm not asking for anything big. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm asking for you to just not come empty-handed.
Yeah.
And all of my best friends, all of them, have always shown up to my place with something. Every single time. And a lot of the times, it's just, oh, it's for mommy's altar.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're getting the concept of like, oh, she's not asking us to give her something. She's asking us to be respectful to the fact that mommy lives here.
Yeah.
This is mommy's house.
Yeah.
And even when like I was like dating someone and I've told him like you cannot come empty-handed. Like
Mm-hmm.
you show up with respect. And he would even like go and say hi and everything, because it's important to show up for people the way that I show up to her.
Yeah.
And vice versa. I would never show up empty-handed to my friend's house or anything of that sort, because she's taught me better than that. she's taught me that, like, I have to give those who give back. And on Fridays for me are very important, are my offering days for her. I go buy her flowers, which then started stemming to buying my daughter flowers, which then like, well, I gotta show myself love too. So I started buying myself flowers, and it became this ripple effect where like one of my best friends also caught on to that. So she started buying us flowers on Fridays, and it just became this whole ripple effect of like devotion.
Yeah.
Being devoted does not just mean Santissima. It means being devoted to yourself, to your loved ones, and spreading that goodness. Because then if somebody were to ask me, like, where did you learn that from? Or like, how did you come up with that concept? I could proudly say it was because of Santa Muerte. It's because of my devotion to her. And goes back to my books that I've been reading, right? And they're spicy books, you know, they're very spicy. But the man always shows devotion to the woman. And the devotion that I read in these books, that's why I'm like, oh, I'm a big believer. If I read it, it can come into fruition. Because the power.
When I tell you it works, it works. Okay? Like when you write it down, it happens. And I'm gonna just keep it at that.
Ooh.
The devotion that you want, girl, you know, because you a Leo too. You know, that devotion, that kind of love, girl. When I tell you what I tell you, it's real. Okay, mommy.
I believe it.
Like it's real. And at times I'm like, damn, is it you know, you kind of believe like, damn, does this person like this really exist? They do. And when they show up, it's gonna be like, God damn, did you just step out of a book? Did you step out of my mind? Like, who are you? Like, wait a damn minute, girl.
I'm a big believer. And it has changed like my brain chemistry because again, these past few months, I've been in a rut. And I'm gonna give myself my flowers right now because I have been through some shit. And I'm still like, love exists because I exist. I have given up on that perception. And I feel like a lot of people would benefit for that perception. And then reading these books about men being so divinely devoted to the women that they love. And it's just like, it's not hard.
It's not because whatever, like, I'm currently learning myself, when you ask for it and it shows up, be ready. You know, be ready, because it's like, it'll challenge you, but in the best ways. Because it's like, damn, that's a whole ass man, and I got that. I'm like a whole ass woman. You know what I mean? Like, it's very powerful, because that level of devotion, that's divine. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, it shows you why all the others fell away. And why things, like I said, why the storm was raging on. It's like, see, you had to see some things.
Right.
And now, you know what I mean? That, and it's funny because I feel like when you're called to surround yourself with that energy, it's for a reason. Because it's like, hey, I'm here. Knock, knock. You know what I mean? Like, go show up with, you know what I mean? Like, and I love that because mommy will be like, don't ever settle for less than that. Because if we're giving her that love and devotion, why would we accept fucking bread? Why would we just a little breadcrumbs? And then you look back and you're like, damn, that was really some breadcrumby ass shit. That was like bottom of the chip bag crumbs. Yeah, and you just try to sprinkle that shit and be like, here you go. No. Like, Bobby will not let that happen. So I love that. Like, even though shit is happening, still believing in that level of devotion, that level of love, and just love in general. You know?
It's so, and it's because of her. I feel like a lot of us that like you mentioned, like for new devotees that want whatever they want out of it, it's just so beyond what we expect. Because if this was me 7 years ago when I wasn't devoted to her, oh, I would have been a menace to society. Like, I would not, no, there would be no way. But because I saw the patterns happening early on, that I was just like, oh shit, something's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And this was in January, where I was just like, something is just not right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and then it just like spirals. Like, that's why.
Yeah.
That's why.
I get now. I
see
understand.
yeah, but she keeps you so. The purple Santa Muerte, La Morada, was with me the entire time. She was not letting go of my hand the entire time. And then I saw La Roja and then La Negra right behind her, as in, like, we'll step in if we have to. Because the entire time I was just like, I don't know what to do. What is this shit? The struggles are real. And when you, like you said, like, hey, I'm just going through a really hard time. I did that a couple times, where I would just be at her altar and I'm just like, I'm going through it. I know you know, but I'm just letting you know, like, I am going through it. Like, whatever you can give me, I will take. If this is something that I have to do, give me the strength. Like,
yeah.
Simple as that. Just give me the strength to get through it if that's something that I have to go through. Because, boy, it's tough. It's tough.
Oh, I know.
So,
Okay.
like, becoming a new devotee, I think that's one of the biggest things, is that this isn't for show. This isn't to go and promote her and try to preach under her word when you're not, what's the word? Taking accountability for your own actions. You know what I mean?
If you're not walking the talk, if you're not embodying the teachings of Santa Muerte, it's like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you saying? You're not even walking what you're saying. You know what I mean? And that keeps me in check to be like, okay, am I walking what I'm talking about? Am I aligned? Are my words and my actions aligned? You know what I mean? And that's huge. You know what I mean? Because like you said, this is not for show. This is not for play, because it's bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. And that, I feel like, as a newer devotee, you got to understand, this is big. It's big, it's deep. You're not going to fully understand the intensity of it, but it's going to be like, wow, this is something. It's going to be something more than what you ever thought.
Right.
But in the best ways. Yes, there going to be some shit, as we've been talking about. There's going to be some shit in between. But it's like the journey along the way, the people that you meet along the way, the things you learn along the way. It's like, damn, it's worth it. You know what I mean? And it's like, we're paving a way that has not been paved before. Right. So we're kind of like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing half the time, but I'm doing it. You know what I mean? I'm kind of there is no stone path ahead. I'm like cutting shit down. You know, it's like mommy with her scythe, like cutting shit down, because it's paving the way for those that are following behind. You know, that's what they say, like, a leader is the one that goes first. It's not so much that we're leading people to do what we're doing. I'm just going first. And either you can do, you can follow the same path, or you can carve your own. But I'm going this way. So you can come along. I don't know.
Oh my God, I love that perception. I didn't even think of it like that. That is wild. Yeah, it is. It really is like that, because like I've said, if not you, then who?
Exactly. Like, I mean, apparently this is what I signed up for,
Right. I guess this wasn't my contract.
Yeah, Divine was like, we need a strong soldier.
And I guess I was like, me?
Like, me? You mean me? Like, goddamn, okay, shit. And then you realize, like, no, I am equipped. Like, I feel like the more you go through, you're like, no, I can do this.
I am that bitch. You're right.
I am. Okay, I can do it. In the moment, you're like, can I do it? And then it's like, no, I can do it. I did it. I did that.
I did that shit.
I know
that's right. somebody asked as well. So, like, tapping into like Santa Muerte and like all her divine beautifulness. Most intense experience with mommy.
Most
You,
intense
yeah.
experience. I've had two where one was when I was in the middle of a breakup. I was dating a woman, and it was mommy telling me this is not the relationship. And it was so intense. The pain, the tears, the lessons, the need to surrender was very intense. Like it was just everything around was crumbling. Like I don't know how I made it alive. I had COVID at the time. I thought I was gonna fucking die. You know what I mean? Like I kept it felt like I was getting hit and knocked down because I wasn't getting the point. Mommy's like, you're not getting the point. You're not understanding what the fuck I'm saying. What are you talking about? You know what I mean? So I would say that was a situation where I had to let go of that person. And then I would say most recently, um, going through what I'm going through with a family member, when you kind of think of the mortality of our loved ones, you know what I mean? When you think of changes that have been that changes in your life where you see, like, I have been so comfortable. I have gotten complacent. I was stagnant. I was not pushing myself. And she's like, okay, I'm going to push you in a place where you're going to be so uncomfortable. It's going to force you to step up. Like in this situation, dealing with like, this family member and their health, I've had to be better about my communication. I've had to be more honest about how I feel. I've had to realize I have shitty ass boundaries and I need to work on that. You know what I mean? I've had to realize that I was not making myself a priority. I was, really so focused on other people that I was ignoring again my own health, my own well-being. Because it's interesting when you're watching a loved one go through their own health trials and tribulations, it highlights your own health issues and how on some level I know for myself I really did not value my health the way that I thought I did. You know what I mean? I kind of treated it like, okay, whatever, it's whatever. And then having like your own kind of health scares, and you're like, maybe I should start taking this a little bit more serious.
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe I should take my mental health more serious.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I need to be a little bit more organized. Because when for example, when you feel like you're going to lose the home that you're in, maybe I need to reevaluate my spending habits. Maybe I need to reevaluate my needs. It's like your sense of security gets shaken up, and that's what I experienced. My sense of security, my sense of well-being, just my overall quality of life. And I really did not know, how the fuck am I going to get out of it? How am I going to manage this?
Mm-hmm.
How am I going to move beyond this? Because it really challenged me. And also just like your feelings that you have about family, your family showing their true colors, feeling alone when it comes to family, feeling alone overall. I'm like, damn, mommy, damn. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have never been pushed this hard before. And I'm not to say that I won't ever experience something like this again. Who knows? But to date, this has been the most challenging part of my life because I've really had to mature emotionally, mentally. You know what I mean? I really had to sit and ask myself, like, what are you doing? Like, what is really going on with you right now? And that was hard because I realized, like, damn, like I was moving like a child. Like I was still expecting everyone to do everything for me, or I was like doubting myself.
Got
You
it.
know what I mean? Like I really had to be pushed out of my comfort zone to realize you can fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, I gained more access to my power, a sense of independence, and a deeper sense of trust.
Mm-hmm.
That no matter what if I am faced with the fact that I feel like I'm gonna lose where I'm living, I'm gonna lose what I have going on, I'm always gonna be okay. I
Mm-hmm.
may not know how, I may not know the why, the who's, the what's, but I'm gonna be okay. The people that I love are gonna be okay. Things are always gonna work out. And that has been the biggest part of it all, is everything is gonna work out always. No matter what. Like, you may not be able to see how, but it is.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna get through it. You're gonna have what it takes. You are gonna make it. And I'm just like, but how, mommy? What do you mean? Like, nah. But I've been shown at every obstacle, at every point, turn, it always worked out. And I was like, damn, okay, it really is going to work out. So I would say that those two situations, which all had to do with surrender, all had to do with surrendering control. Stop trying to control everything. Stop trying to push so fucking hard. Stop trying to manipulate the situation to be what you want it to be. Just let it be what it's going to be. You said you need help. Let us help you. You know what I mean? Let the help come. You know what I mean? Put, like, yes, have your boundaries, but don't be so fucking like pushy. And I was like, okay, buddy. Oh, this is hard. Like, damn, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, thank you, mom. Like, okay, I'm understanding now. So that has been those two moments for me that have been like, how did I survive this?
Right. I feel like, first of all, thanks for sharing that, because moments like that are so imprinted in our everyday life, because they don't leave us. They're there for a reason. They marked us for a reason, you know what I mean? So thank you for sharing that, because that's not that it's tough, but it is tough to kind of put it into a bigger lens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like I can relate to that, because when it comes to the everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be all right, everything's gonna work out, even in the midst of it all, it's hard to even see the light at the end of the tunnel of like, but is it gonna be okay? Because there's just so much being thrown at you all at once, right? And especially because this is what we do for a living. This is what we do. We are here. So when we have to prioritize our sanity versus the images that we put out there for people to, come to us and stuff, it's a tough call to make, and in every way possible. And especially when you're being challenged to rethink and come up with a whole different perception of what you thought was X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It's a real challenge, and it's a real thing. So I'm glad that mommy has been there to kind of guide you and hold your hand like through the way and tell you like, but I'm here.
Yeah.
If nobody else, I'm here. Yeah. And that's what it feels like, in at least in your situation of like mommy kind of coming through with her lamp and just kind of guiding you of like, but look, even though you can't see everything right now, give it time. Yeah. Like, I promise you, it's gonna be worthwhile. Like, just look at the lamp for right now.
Yeah, like just focus on the light, you know?
Yes, like, but I got you. And that's what it feels like and especially when you're put in situations where you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
You don't even know where to turn or who to turn to. You can always turn to her. And it's such a blessing to have that. And it is very, very, very intense, because I've had similar experiences of where like I don't know who to fucking turn to. Yeah. But I know that I got her. And if if that's all I got, then I'm completely okay. Like I'm okay with kind of leaning my head to her shoulder, and I know that everything's gonna work out and be all right. Because even for myself, like my intense times where when I had to they tell you don't ask mommy unless you want the answer, and if you're not ready for her response, then do not ask her. Yeah. And I learned that with Asriel when he would be like, hey, don't ask her if you're not ready to make a decision. And I remember when I was going through like my abusive situation, that I was just like, I'm not ready to ask her because like I'm caught up in this toxic environment. But I remember one night that I was just like, give it to me. Like I lit one 7-day white candle and I was just like, show me the truth. And I got on my knees and I was just like, I am ready. Just give it to me. And in an span of 11 days, it was just like, poof, 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 poof. And I was just like, okay, we gotta go. Like, I can't stay here. I can't do the things that I would have expected myself to have done, but instead, like, rise to the challenge. And I felt her proud. I felt her proud of the moments of that deciding of like, this isn't beneficial. You told me this isn't beneficial, so I'm gonna go with it. And for the next 2 years after that was me deciding what was best for me and what I had to do. And like how you mentioned, like you don't know who the fuck to turn to because at that time everything kind of exposes themselves and you're just like left with nothing. But I knew that that moment was the moment for me to just count on her because she revealed everything. So that means that if she can reveal, she can also comprehend what I'm going through and also lead the way of like what needs to be done. And although those 2 years had been the most toughest 2 years, I got to learn so much, and especially my value. And I think that was her biggest thing with me was like, learn how to speak up, learn how to communicate, learn how to value yourself so you don't have to go through this consistently. And this time period that I just went through was really different from the last intense time of her like really showing up. It was more so of like, all right, well, you've done the work. Let's see if you're really up for the fucking challenge that you've been asking and praying for. And I think that's really intense and scary sometimes where you're just been asking and praying to her about certain things and she's just like, all right, but let's see. But let's see if you're really prepared and you're about to either, I don't like to use the word lose, but like you're about to be challenged with what you really want versus what you really desire. So which one are you gonna choose? Because you've been praying to me every novena about getting X, Y, and Z. And you know what? I think you may be ready for it. But let's go ahead and just, clear the way and see.
Oh my gosh.
See how much you're really willing to fucking, put towards everything you've been praying for, because it's not going to be easy, and anything that is good is never going to be easy. And I think this time around was one of those moments where I was just, it's funny now that I look back on it, I was just like, you really put me in a toughy situation, but I know that it's more beneficial than I expected it to be.
Ooh boy. Girl, you know what's so funny about the plumber coming right now and the work that he's doing?
Huh.
It's kind of like what we were saying about clearing the way. Because they got to clear the fucking pipes under the house with a pressure jet.
The universe be saying, it's clearing way, girl.
And we are clearing the fucking way, literally. And no, it's funny because I was stressing. I was like, man, this shit's gonna be expensive. Da da da. But they worked with like payment options, and they're like, no, we're gonna do this for you. This is how we're gonna do it. So I was like, you know what, mommy, it does work out. It always works. Like we were talking about, it always works out.
It always does. It always does. And I think when we have a vision, when we have a just a vision. I think that's, oh man, I don't want to say just like that because the people are like, oh, I can just envision it. No, I feel like if you envision it and really truly feel it, there's just everything will work out like the way that it's supposed to. And no better person to do it than her. Like, to just
tell you, she will clear the fucking way. You got some clogged pipes internally in your path, because it's like you're saying, the things that we pray for and that we want, we got to clear the way.
Right.
And I'm having deja vu as I'm saying that right now. Like, I feel like we've said it. Like, we're having this conversation before. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it is that we're asking for, whatever it is that we're wanting, you know what I mean? And I feel that for you, girl. Whatever it is, I don't even need no details. But whatever it is that you've been asking for, I feel like she's like, you know what I mean? And I love that. Like, it's very much like literally nothing is going to get in the way of that. Nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I hope not. I've been working. What you mean?
Girl, like, it's like never that. Never. I feel like that too. Like, just I feel like too, because as Santa Muerte devotees, we're very stubborn and we want what we want and we get what we want. Sometimes we have to be careful about that because we will get it. But it's like we always get what we want. But I always feel too, like I said, it's bigger than just us. You know what I mean? It's like we want what we want so much because there's a bigger reason for it, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I love that.
I agree. It's bigger than us. Just like how my best friend said, like, I don't see her as death. It's beyond that, because it really is. It's so much more than we can anticipate and experience. You know, I am so grateful to have you back, because I don't know about you, but whenever I hear other people that are truly devoted to Santa Muerte and just like listen to them, like, and especially like Azriel or yourself, I get this like overwhelming feeling of like gratitude. It's like it washes over my body and it just refreshes me and my soul of like, oh wow, this is a great fucking reminder. And this is what it feels like anytime that you and I like touch base, like, and hopefully we can do it more often, because it's amazing to just feed off of each other's vibes.
Yeah, girl, you know I'm telling you, the fucking heat, the fire, the energy is always so big every time we talk. Like, that's that energy. You know what I mean? That's the fucking energy. But I feel the same way too. Like, just that, it's like, that's real love for mommy. That's real love for mommy, but it's real love for the journey. It's real love for the growth. And that's the kind of energy I want to be around. People that have that real love for mommy, but are really about the growth. Because if you want to stay stagnant, you could stay stagnant over there, you know. But we got these fucking pressure jets, and we're clearing shit out. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate that, because it's just like, even though we've gone through what we've gone through some fucking dark times, we can still laugh, we still love, and we still are showing up at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Because we're fucking alchemists. And we just take the shit and we make it better. And then we become better.
And I think that is the most courageous thing anybody can do. You can't tell me otherwise. People that have been put through the mud and still sparkle like the mud was just a pot of gold are my type of people that I know that, like, oh, you know there's a treasure at the end of the fucking rainbow. Like, that's what the fuck it is. And I love it. There's no other way than to say it, that I love it. But thank you, Derricka. I love this. And I know everybody loves the fact that when we get together, it's just a whole vibe. So
we have to give the people what they want, what they need.
Especially because it's about to be Leo season. What you talking about?
I'm telling you, once the Leo season come around, prepare to be sick of us. Okay.
Bring him out. Bring him out. No, truly.
Because I'm telling you, I feel like this particular Leo season coming up, it feels extra juicy. You know what I mean? I don't know why, but it feels like round. You know what I mean? Like big kitty energy. You know what I mean? Big cat. I'm here for it.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I'm really excited. I'm excited for that.
Hopefully we can collab on something, maybe.
Hell yeah. I mean, girl, to Leo, come on. I already know whatever it is, it's going to be divine and powerful as fuck.
I know that's right. Anything else you want to tell the people where to find you? I'm pretty sure they already know how to find you, but if they don't,
y'all know how to find me. Divine Derricka on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. Divine.Derricka. DivineDerricka.com. You know. But yeah, really, what I gotta say for the people is, I'm feeling like mommy's saying is believe in yourself. You know, that's the message I'm getting for her. Like, believe in yourself. You got it. You can fucking do it. And don't let anyone else make you feel otherwise. So, you know, tap into that big cat energy, you know, that big mama energy, and do what you need to do. You know what you need to do. And it's going to be successful. Whoever needed to hear that, whatever you're doing, it's going to be successful. So just do it. You know?
I just want to be successful. I know that's right.
You know?